All right, ready to dive deep. Today, we're taking on creatine and we're separating fact from fiction using this 2021 research review. You want the real deal on this popular supplement, and we're here to deliver.
Sounds like it's myth-busting time.
It definitely is. So let's jump right in with one of the biggest concerns people have: creatine bloat. Do we really balloon up when we start taking it? What's the science say?
Okay, so there could be some initial water weight gain with creatine, it's true.
Hmm.
But think of it this way. It's more like you're plumping up a pillow from the inside. The water is going into your muscle cells intracellular, which can actually help them grow. It's not like typical bloating.
So like a muscle pump that sticks around a little longer, I can handle that. But what happens long term? Does that water weight just keep adding up?
No, it actually levels out. There was this study in 2003 by Powers and his team, and they found that while you might see that initial increase in total body water, it stabilizes over time. Creatine doesn't mess with your body's overall water balance in the long run.
That's good to know for those of us who like to stay hydrated, but maybe not, like transform into a water balloon.
Okay, another one that always comes up, the idea that creatine is some dangerous steroid. Where did that come from?
It probably comes from the fact that creatine is often marketed as this performance enhancer. But here's the thing, creatine is naturally found in our bodies and even in foods like red meat. Steroids, on the other hand, are synthetic hormones. They have totally different chemical structures. Legally and in terms of risk, they are totally different. It's kind of like saying a scooter and a sports car are the same just because they both have wheels. They might look similar on the surface, but how they work and what they do are totally different.
Exactly. Plus, creatine is regulated as a dietary supplement, while steroids are controlled substances. So, yeah, big difference in terms of safety and how they're regulated.
All right, which leads us to another big concern: creatine and kidney damage. Is there any truth to that?
This is a common worry, and it makes sense why people are concerned. But the research is crystal clear on this. For healthy individuals, taking creatine at the recommended doses does not damage your kidneys.
So how did this myth even start?
Well, it might be partly because people get creatine and creatinine mixed up. Creatinine is a byproduct of muscle breakdown. They sound similar, but they're totally different things. There was also this case study way back in 1998 that caused some unnecessary alarm. Since then, tons of research has proven there's no link between responsible creatine use and kidney problems.
So we can put that one to rest. Speaking of myths, what about hair loss? I've heard people say creatine can make you go bald. Is that another case of bad information spiraling out of control?
You're absolutely right. This one seems to be based on a single study, just one. It suggested a possible connection between creatine and higher levels of DHT, which is that hormone linked to hair loss in men. But there's a catch: that study has never been replicated, and many others have found no relationship between creatine and testosterone or DHT levels at all.
So another myth bites the dust. It's amazing how one study can cause so much confusion. Speaking of clearing things up, let's talk muscle cramps and creatine. Is there anything to that? Another myth busted?
That's a myth that just won't quit, especially endurance athletes. They're worried about anything that might make them cramp up. But the research is clear. Creatine isn't the culprit.
So all those stories we hear, it's just coincidence, not actually because of the creatine.
Right. Just because someone happens to get a cramp while they're taking creatine doesn't mean the creatine caused it. There's a lot going on, especially during intense exercise. Greenwood and his team, they did a study in 2003 on football players talk about pushing your body, and they found no increase in cramps or injuries in the players using creatine.
That's pretty convincing. It seems like good hydration is key no matter what.
Absolutely. Hydration is essential for everyone, especially if you're active. Speaking of different people, let's talk age groups. We know creatine is popular with athletes, but is it safe for everyone? Teenagers? Older adults? Is there an age limit?
Yeah, good question.
The good news is the FDA considers creatine as generally recognized as safe, or GRA, for adults, meaning it's been rigorously tested and is safe for general use.
GRAS, that's like the FDA's stamp of approval. What about younger or older folks, though?
For teens, the research is still a bit limited, but what we do have suggests it's safe and might even be beneficial, especially when paired with a good exercise program. Of course, it's always smart to check with a doctor before starting any new supplement, especially for younger people.
Always better to be safe than sorry. Now, what about older adults? Should they consider creatine?
This is where it gets really interesting. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass and strength. It's called sarcopenia, a normal part of aging. But here's the thing. Creatine can actually help fight that.
So, a secret weapon against getting older.
Kind of. Studies show creatine can help older adults gain muscle, get stronger, even improve bone density, which is so important to prevent falls and fractures.
That's huge. It challenges this idea that aging means slowing down, becoming frail. It means we can stay strong and active even as we get older.
Exactly. And there's even more. Some research suggests creatine could be good for brain health in older adults, maybe even protecting against cognitive decline and those neurodegenerative diseases. But we need more research on that for sure.
Wow. Okay, I'm convinced. But is creatine one size fits all? Does it benefit everyone equally? Marathon runners, chess players, or are certain people more likely to see results?
That's what makes it so fascinating. It's best known for its benefits in power sports, like weightlifting, sprinting, anything needing those quick bursts of energy. But it's not just for bulking up. Research shows it can help endurance athletes, too.
Wait, so both sprinters and marathon runners, how does that work?
It comes down to how creatine works on a cellular level. It helps replenish ATP, which is our muscle's primary energy source. That translates to better performance in those short bursts of activity and in longer endurance exercises. For endurance athletes, it helps improve glycogen storage, reduce muscle damage, leading to faster recovery.
Incredible. So from our muscles to our minds, this is like the multi-tool of supplements. But there's so many types of creatine out there now. Monohydrate, hydrochloride, ethyl ester. How do we know which one's best? It's easy to get lost in all the marketing hype.
I hear you. The supplement world can be overwhelming. Here's the thing. Creatine monohydrate is the gold standard.
Stick with the original, right?
Oh.
What makes monohydrate the best?
Well, it's the most studied form out there, by far. Decades of research and its safety and effectiveness are well documented. Plus, it's the most affordable, which is always a bonus.
Makes sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. What about women specifically? Is there anything different they should know about using creatine? It seems like most of the research is on men.
That's very true, and it's something we need more research on. Most creatine studies have focused on men, but the limited evidence we do have suggests it could be just as beneficial for women in terms of strength gains, body composition, even athletic performance.
So it's not that it doesn't work for women, we just haven't studied it enough yet.
Exactly. And it's not just about performance either. We need more research on how it affects women's health specifically. Pregnancy, postpartum, menopause. There's a lot to explore.
It's like we've opened this door to a whole new world of possibilities, but we still have a lot to learn, especially for women.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about science. There's always something new to discover. But I think it's important to remember just how much we do know about creatine now.
You're right. We've debunked some major myths today. Bloating, kidney damage, hair loss even, that it's some kind of steroid. And we've seen how it goes beyond just building muscle, endurance, recovery, brain health, healthy aging. It's amazing how something so common could have so much misinformation surrounding it.
It really shows how important it is to get your information from reliable sources, to look at the evidence and not just believe everything you hear. When it comes to creatine, the science is clear. For healthy people, it's safe and effective if you use it responsibly.
Exactly. Fact over fiction, which is what this deep dive is all about. So we tackled water weight, kidney damage, hair loss, that whole steroid thing. And we learned the benefits go way beyond muscle growth, endurance, recovery, brain health, even aging well.
And the most exciting part, we're just getting started. The research on creatine is ongoing, and I'm positive we'll discover even more about what it can do.
It's incredible to think that something so readily available that you can just buy could have so much untapped potential. So to wrap things up, I'll leave you with this. Knowledge is power, right? Now that you know the facts about creatine, how will you use this information in your workouts, your supplement choices, or even just navigating health and wellness?
Now that is the question. Take this knowledge and use it. Use it to reach your goals. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research, talk to your doctor or dietitian to see if creatine is right for you. And most importantly, never stop learning.
Perfectly said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into creatine. Until next time, stay curious and keep those brains and bodies fueled with knowledge and maybe, just maybe, a little creatine.